Next are the agents of pollination. Agents are the several agencies or the factors which are responsible for the transfer of male gametes to the female part. So plants, they use two abiotic agents, that is wind and water, and one biotic, that is animal agents, to achieve pollination. Majority of the plants, they use biotic agents, means living agents, for pollination. Only a small proportion of plants use abiotic agents. Pollen grains coming in contact with the stigma is a chance factor in both wind and water pollination. The term used for wind pollination is anemophily, and the term used for water pollination is hydrophily. So to compensate for this uncertainties and associated loss of pollen grains, the flowers produce enormous amount of pollen grains. That means the pollen grains, they are always produced in large numbers when compared to the number of ovules available for pollination. Pollination by wind is more common among abiotic pollinators. Wind pollination also requires the pollen grains are the pollen grains which are transferred by the agency of wind. They are light in weight, and they are non-sticky, so that they can be transported in wind currents. They often possess well-exposed stamens, so that the pollen grains, they are easily dispersed into wind currents, and large, often feathery stigma to easily trap airborne pollen grains. Wind pollination flowers, they have a single ovule in each ovary and numerous flowers packed into an inflorescence. A familiar example is corn. Corn cob, the tassels you see, they are nothing but the stigma and the style which wave in the wind to trap pollen grains. So wind pollination is quite common in grasses. Next is pollination by water. It is quite rare in flowering plants and is limited to about 30 genera, mostly monocots. As against this, you would recall that water is a regular mode of transportation for the male gametes among the lower plant groups such as algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes. It is believed that some bryophytes and pteridophytes, their distribution is limited, but the need of water for the transport of male gametes and fertilization, like you have already studied in +1, that bryophytes, they are called as amphibians of plant kingdom because they need water for fertilization. No doubt they live on land, but they require water for the transportation and fusion of gametes. Some examples of water pollinated plants, they are Vallisneria and Hydrilla, which grow in fresh water, and several marine sea grasses such as Ostera. Not all the aquatic plants use water for pollination. In majority of the aquatic plants such as water hyacinth and water lily, the flowers emerge above the level of the water and are pollinated by insects or wind, as in most of the land plants. In Vallisneria, the female flower reach the surface of the water by long stalk, and male flowers or pollen grains, they are released onto the surface of water. They are carried passively by water currents. Some of them eventually they reach the female flowers and stigma. In another group, like sea grasses, female flowers, they remain submerged in water, and the pollen grains are released inside the water. Pollen grains in many such species, they are long, ribbon-like, and they are carried passively inside the water. Some of them they are carried passively inside the water. Some of them they reach the stigma and achieve pollination. Most of water pollinated species, they are protected from wetting by a mucilaginous covering because they remain unwettable by mucilaginous covering. Both wind and water pollinated flowers, they are not very colorful, and they need not to produce any nectar because they need not to attract any pollinator. The pollination is simply by abiotic, that is non-living means. Let's go through the notes once. Majority of flowering plants use a range of animals as pollinating agents. These include some insects or other animals like bees, butterflies, beetles, flies, wasps, ants, moths, birds including sunbird and hummingbirds, and bats also. So among the animals, insects, particularly the bees, they are dominant biotic pollinating agents. Even larger animals such as some primates also, like lemurs, arboreal tree-dwelling rodents, or even reptiles like jackal lizard and the garden lizard, they have been reported as important pollinators for some species. Often the flowers of animal pollinated plants, they are specifically adapted for a particular species of animal. Majority of the insect pollinated flowers, because the term used for insect pollination is entomophily, so entomophilous flowers, they have the characters like they have large, colorful, fragrant and rich in nectar. The flowers, they are large in size, they are colorful to attract the pollinators, they are fragrant, they have scent, and they are rich in nectar. Also, the flowers pollinated by flies and beetles, they secrete foul odors to attract the animals. Flowers have to provide some rewards to animals such as nectar and pollen grain to sustain animal visits. The pollen grains, being they are sticky and get attached to the insect body, it brings about the pollination. In this way, when the insect comes to a flower for nectar, the pollen grains, they get stick to the insect legs and body parts of the insect, and it is in this way the pollen grains, they are transferred from one flower to the other flower.